is my dad. He was about 60 years old, and when he drinks a little bit around the house there, it was one day he was in the house aggravating my mother, and my mother said, "Dad, Charlie, can you get your dad out of the house? He's bugging me." So he was pretty wasted, so I go over and I said, "Daddy, whose gallon of whiskey's in the back of the Tater house?" And he looked up and he said, "That's mine, and leave it alone." I said, "Well, I'm going to get it." And he said, "No, you're not going to get it. You leave it alone. It's mine." And I said, "Well," and he goes out there to get his whiskey. There was no whiskey there, but he was pretty wasted, and he didn't know if he had any there or not. And the potato house is about 15, 16 foot wide, about 20 foot long. And as you go through the door, you have to step up about 2 foot to get in over into the thing. And there was a wood heater sitting right in the middle of the floor. So you had to get around the heater and go back where I told him the whiskey was at. So he goes out there and sits right down in the door just like this, crossed his leg and got his cigarette out and was smoking. And I walked up there and I said, "Daddy, let me in there." And he said, "No." I said, "I'm going to go get my whiskey." And he said, "No, you're not. That's my whiskey." And he's sitting there, and about the time he got his cigarette rolled, I done prepped the thing. I put an old mattress we used to use to go fishing, laid it down in the back of behind him. I set that up before. I told him before he went out there, and also had an Alice Shalman tractor backed up real close to the door with a 4x4, so when I got him in there, I could put my 4x4 up against so he couldn't get out and back the tractor up. But anyway, he was sitting there and said, "No, that's my whiskey." And I just pushed him, and he just fell over right in the back of it. I closed the door, put the 16-foot 4x4 up against the door, fired the old tractor up before he got that broke loose, and backed up against that door. And he, as dark as a dungeon in there, no lights, no nothing. And he says, "Charlie, let me out of here." And I said, "No, just lay down on the mattress and go to sleep." So he's hell-bent on getting out, and he tore the stovepipe off of the little stove that was heated in the wintertime to dry the potatoes out, climbed up on the stove and poked his head through a little hole that was no bigger than 8-inch diameter. And I climbed up in the loft of that building. I looked back there, and he had smut all over his face, and he's hollering, "I'm getting out of here, and I'm going to beat your ass. I'm going to beat your ass." And it was so funny that it was unreal. He just hell-bent on getting out that hole. It was almost impossible. So after he fought around about 20 minutes and fell back down, his head went back through the hole, and he got back up on the thing. I go out there again, and I said, "Daddy, you want me to let you out?" And he said, "Hell no, I'm going to get out, and I'm going to beat your ass, boy." And I kind of got scared. I might have been 16, 17 years old then. So I knocked the tractor out of gear and rolled it out of the way, took that 4x4 off of that pole where I had it braced up against the door, opened the door about 6 inches, and I left. And I didn't see him till the next day. But he was uncooled down, and he didn't beat me up. He didn't say much about it after that. But that was a true story. I was actually mean to the old man, probably, but it was pretty funny.
You got him out of your mother's hair.
I got him out of my mother's hair, and everything was cool. He was just aggravating her a little bit. So that's another one of the crazy stories. True story.